create my kerfing, I started off with a long piece of timber, 20mm wide and 7mm thick. I've chosen to use paulownia for this process, but mahogany and basswood are other good options. Firstly, set your router up with a 45-degree chamfer. With the timber aligned in a vertical direction, pass it through the router from right to left, making sure your hands are nowhere near the cutting bit. Repeat this process for the other side of the timber, and I'll leave you with a profile like this. Now you can move to the bandsaw and cut your timber into sections about 300mm long. Find a scrap piece of wood and make a small cut with the bandsaw perpendicular to one of the edges. With the bandsaw off, flip the timber around to the other side and line up the blade with the groove that you've just cut. Get a couple of clamps ready to hold your timber in place. We need to adjust the timber to create the correct depth of cut on the kerfing. The cut needs to be deep enough so the kerfing can bend around the tight radiuses of the ukulele, and this can take a little bit of trial and error. Get those clamps nice and tight, and as with standard practice of using a bandsaw, make sure your fingers are well and truly out of the way of the blade. After a few adjustments, you should be able to get the depth of cut right, and we want this cut to go through to about 0.5mm from the end. For some added safety when making all the cuts on your kerfing, use a small block of timber behind the bandsaw. That way, if it does cut too far, you're not going to get your fingers. The distance between the cuts should be about 3 or 4mm. Continue with your cuts until about 100mm from the end and stop there. We need to leave a little bit of waste. Once you've done a few sections of the kerfing, get a pencil and draw a line down the centre. Take it over to the bandsaw and cut down the line you've just marked, once again making sure to keep all fingers well and truly out of the way. Now we're ready to start gluing the kerfing onto the body. You can use specialised kerfing clamps, but if you don't have these you can use paper clips or even pegs. Check to see if your kerfing is going to bend enough to get around the radius of your body. If not, you might need to put it in some water for a little while. In the meantime, you can set up your gluing area and put some paper underneath. A couple of minutes in the water should be fine, so dry it off with a paper towel and bring it over to your gluing area. Squirt a small amount of glue onto some scrap wood and begin applying it to the whole length of the kerfing. Starting from one end, bend your kerfing into position with the flat side facing up and get someone to help you apply the clamps if required. The kerfing has to be glued flush with the top of the sides or even slightly above so we can sand it back and create a good surface area for the soundboard to be attached. When you get to the other end, snap off any excess kerfing and finish off the gluing. Follow the same process for the other side and leave to set for a few hours before removing the clamps. Put the kerfing on the back of the ukulele, and now the kerfing section is complete. The next stage will be adding the soundboard and the back.